Hello, everybody. Here we are, doing stuff, inking things. Yeah. Been a while. 6 months, according to the stats on the YouTubes, but here we are. Actually, if I remember right, I have not actually announced the stream yet, so let me do that real quick on my other computer. Sorry if it's going to be a bit of a moment. Sorry about this. Let that think about what it's doing. Think about what it's doing with its life. Share to Facebook, share to Twitter. Nothing's logged in. Why? Why is nothing logged in? Whatever. Okay. Cool. That's announced. We exist. A whole minute of just that. I adjusted the output, so you actually should be seeing it a little bit better than you were before. It was set at about 680 something instead of not that. So maybe you'll actually be able to, see what's going on. So yeah, been working on this project on and off once again. Pretty much that's my life. Just work on this project on and off. There we go. And get through an area where I'm working on sketches or what have you, actual things that I actually have to think about, and then I'm inking, and inking is pretty mindless a lot of the time. Not always, but if I've done my work when I'm sketching, then my life is easier. So it makes for okay streaming conditions. And yeah, I'd like to be able to show something of what I am doing, so the streaming thing seems like a good idea. And hey, I noticed that one of the animators that I follow on YouTube was actually streaming editing video the other day, and I'm like, well, if you're doing that, I ain't got no excuse, yo. So here we are. I think inking is probably a little bit more stimulating than video editing. A little bit easier to keep up a running commentary when you don't have to, like listen to what you're actually working on. Yeah. So what has been going on? I guess the primary thing going on is, right now is just the fact that surgery is approaching. Huzzah! So much surgery. Surgery for all! Yes, everybody wants surgery. For those of you just who don't know the surgery I'm talking about, I'm a trans dude, and I am scheduled for a mastectomy on September 27th. So that's finally coming up. Oh, and my cat is crying over there. She wants attention, or for me to go to bed. It's it's about the same. Come to bed and pet me. My life is a tragedy. I need to be cuddled constantly. How shall I live? So, yeah. So it's been a long road to being in a position in my life where I could transition and um, yeah. So yeah, it's been a ride. Um, so yeah, it's this entire year has basically been Sonic gets fucking chest surgery, yay. Because I started I had my first doctor's appointment to this end November 9th of 2016. Yes, that November 9th. Even worse, my birthday is November 8th, so that was that was a great birthday present. For your birthday, you get fascism. Huzzah! So, yeah, I had my first doctor's appointment with the Howard Brown Institute here in I'm in the suburbs of Chicago. Chicagoans don't really like it if you claim that you live in Chicago and you're actually living in the suburbs, but yeah, it's all Chicago land. So I can claim to be in Chicago land, but not Chicago proper, which is acceptable to me. I'll deal with that. I don't want to live in no stinking Chicago anyway. Fine here, in the burbs. We got horses here. What do you got? Poo. That's right. I mean, you have carriages, but like, I've like actually worked with horses, and you just stepped in the poo. Actually, if they're doing things right, you haven't. Hey, stylus. You know what would be great? Movement. Oh God. What is going on? Temporary technical difficulties. Tablet doesn't want to work. Okay, come on. Tablet please. Really? Because the mouse works. Why aren't you working, tablet? Seriously, like, movement would be good. I know that you're getting power because I can see it. I can see things. I can see it in your eyes that you are trying to function. Aha, I got you. The classic method of unplug it and plug it back in has succeeded once again. Huzzah! So, yeah. I was talking about horses and poop. Yes, that was the thing. What? Me talk about poop and horses? Pshaw. Yeah, I for also those of you who don't know, i.e. most of you on the internet, I was an equine science major for a couple of years down at Southern before I stopped. And that's a story in and of itself. Jeez. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a fan of not living in a city, as is the thing I was trying to drive at there. But so November, I had a doctor's appointment with Howard Brown Center, which is really a really cool place. They're big on GLBT healthcare. They do a lot of behavioral and psychological health integration, as well as good old STI scanning. It's I don't really know why it went from STDs to STIs. I ought to look that up someday. That'd be good knowledge. So they do that, and they also do a lot of work with trans people like me to transition. And actually, I got the distinct impression walking out of there that if I had said, "Yeah, give me some tea," I could have walked out of it there with that. And I don't mean like the beverage. I don't know that they had the beverage. That would have been nice too. But tea is in testosterone, which is frustratingly for a trans guy, or frustratingly easy for a non-trans guy, I should say, to get, and something that is a little bit more regulated for us. But the Howard Brown Center uses the informed consent model, which means they give you the information and say, up to you to decide. You are of sound mind to make medical decisions about yourself, which is awesome. So I will be under that informed consent model. They hooked me up, or gave me some names and contact information for a few surgeons, and who I then proceeded to contact. And I am going to be having surgery with Dr. Allison Shore in Chicago, again on September 29th. 7th, words, 27th, that is the date. Chaos, that would be annoying to miss the schedule on that one. Yeah. So, yeah, I had my consultation with her in March. So again, it's kind of been a bit of a ride this year. I've been not, it's been my primary focus, which I know it's kind of a passive thing to focus on. Like, oh, I will be getting surgery, I must now wait. Which was a little vexing, let me tell you. Okay, well, now my life is in limbo until September. Okay. Small price to pay, I guess. But despite that, it has been a pretty damn good year. Despite fascism as well. We're just not I am not known for mincing words, so yeah. Fascism. Anyway, no pupils on this. I guess I'll talk about this. For eyes, I like to show the features of a face, even when they're covered by hair. It's not terribly obvious that that's what's going on in a situation like this where it's just the inks. I could probably go back to an earlier frame to show you what I'm trying to get at. Here we go. So here in this frame, you'll see like let's actually select it so that it's not. There we go. Not transparent. So in this frame, I've obscured the pupils and the shines on the eyes because the iris is being obscured by hair, and this is my workaround for having that detail still be there and still be present. Because I feel like a lot of information gets lost if you do like how in real life it works, where you cover the face and the eyes is totes covered, yo. I feel like that gets a little frustrating. Doesn't in how it in showing an emotion, because in an illustration, you could always say, well, you shouldn't be covering the eyes then. But I don't want to skip on that in animation. So you've won this round. I shouldn't be using that trick in an illustration, but in animation, anything goes, yeah? Yeah. So I'm cheating with my legs. Got them copied and pasted. I could probably work that in a different layer, but no, I'm not doing that. So that's my little trick for showing off the eyes while they're obscured. It helps with the illusion, in my opinion. I have many untested opinions for what I think works. Another thing I like to do is this weird thing with my ink colors. Well, we'll go back to the crowd scheme. Wow. And you can see here in the transparent land of this frame, because I don't really know how to make everything not transparent without playing. I guess we could just that hotkey doesn't work. So I like to use colored lines for characters, and I like to, rather than, because I'm lazy, I rather than assign properly color lines according to the color of the item, I kind of like to assign a color to a character that I think suits that particular character, and then give them that ink color and work around that. It probably doesn't work as well as I want it to, but it is something that I've effectively, in my mind, I've been experimenting with, but really I've been using it for quite a few years now. But I like the idea of it, even though probably the execution sometimes leaves a bit to be desired. But hey, dot in your nose, yeah. Got a frustrating situation here where this character's their jawline grows rather heroic instead of the soft rounded thing that's established for their actual character design. And now I'm slurring. Damn. Which is not the slurring, but the soft rounded jaw is, yeah, it's easy for me to lose. Every artist has like a default for how they draw faces, so if you're not paying attention or you're not working from a reference or have a good character sheet on hand, which I don't have character sheets on hand for any of these guys because I'm terrible like that. I mean, for reals, I think every single, with the exception of this one I'm working on right here, so I ain't got no excuse. Every character in this scene was actually designed on the canvas. I didn't do the prep work you're supposed to do. Oops. It'll all work out, I'm sure. The worst is over, right? I'm in the middle of it. Which, yeah. So basically that means I've had many situations, and you've seen a little bit of that on previous streams, where I have to look back and try and figure out what the hell I'm doing with my character, and like how their hair is rendered, and how many hair spikies they have. It's a very technical term, hair spikies. Yeah. I'm a professional. I don't work in the industry at all. So, yeah. So, that is a pointy finger. Man. Dad finger though. So, yeah, I had fun it's been interesting coming up with this particular shot for this character who's playing a video game. Upon finishing the penciling of this, I believe that was when I did it. I announced this to my friends at large. I declared I was never writing a scene where a character is simply sitting there playing a video game and doing nothing else again. Because, damn, I was very, very sick of figuring out ways to make this shot work. Which I'm using technically an animation. I think I've discussed this before in another stream, but hey, one of the streams, the audio didn't happen because of setup issues. So whatever, nothing matters. And it was a while ago now. So, way to go, Sonic. Good job making yourself forget what you were saying. And I can't even go back and look at what I was saying because it's live. Doing this live. I was talking about how I don't want to animate. Oh, right. Animate gaming. So, one of the things that you really ought to do as an animator is, especially if you're beginning, like I am, for all that I have a degree in this, I'm still definitely a beginner in a lot of ways. But, you should always work from a reference as much as you can. Again, you're not Milk Khan yet, and even Milk Khan, he knows what he did. But yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess I'm talking about the Rescuers. But if you're another animator, and you already know this if you are, but I'm gonna tell you, cause I didn't do it either. Work from a reference. It will make your life better. I didn't work from a reference for this shot, and it made my life fucking yes. Inarticulate noises is what my life became upon this, and I'm only just now working my way out in here now in this inking stage where my life is being less taken over by inarticulate zombie noises. So with this shot scene, whatever, animation terminology versus film terminology, which I didn't learn terminologies at school where I got my degree in animation. Whatever. So I didn't have reference footage for this video game playing, which of course I could have easily gotten, as this character is based off myself. I'm lame. But I didn't do that. Instead, I decided to play around with these little white lines that are my paths for where movement is happening. And as you can see, when I decided to use these paths to map out my where the movement was going to go, which is a little bit static for about 2/3 of this animation, and then I decided I needed to go side to side in the middle, so I did that, and I decided to make a neat little widdly woo with the figure eights for that part of the shot, and I do like that. But yeah, use reference footage because bitches, you ain't Milk Khan is the moral of the story. And this is from me not using reference footage as I should be doing. Yes. So, that was fun. And draw. I should not be going that far with the thing. Headphones. Why did I have to have headphones? Some days, yo. You just make your own life harder. It's okay. I've pretty much mastered the headphones. Or at least I haven't really fucked them up yet. I mean, I really expected to fuck them up. Like, all kinds of up. Like, you don't even know. Actually, I probably shouldn't have done that to that line. Da-da-da. This is fun. This is another great move on my part where I didn't like draw what the back of the arm should be doing. I got lazy and never get lazy. Getting lazy makes things harder. Ugh. Onion skins. That's not what I want. So now I'm just checking my basically I'm actually looking directly at those headphones, and it appears they get a little stretchy there and a little funky. They're not as bad as they could be, but they're not smooth. And Okay, so like they bounce up there and then they go back down. Should have done the sketch. I should have sketched these headphones. I shouldn't have relied on I'll do it in post. Idiot. Okay. Maybe I can just stretch it? Nope. Could probably stretch individual lines. That's always nice. Herp derp. Fixing problems upon making them. That's how we do. Yeah, fuck you, line. Go die in a fire. And back to camera mode. I'm a stretchy thing. Why do I stretch? Because Sonic couldn't be fucked to deal with things. And then it teleports. And it goes, I'm gonna sit up high because I'm a bitch. Okay. Which one? One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is a neck. Nope. Deleted. Delete you, line. I don't need you no more. I'm in camera mode, of course. Shift M to re-camera the camera so it can camera. And it jumps up again. Yeah, really. Way to go, me. I'm being slowly strangled by my headphones. Don't murder me, headphones. We had something. We had so much together. So I watched Anastasia, the Don Bluth movie, for the first time tonight. I don't really care for it. Part of it is just that I think the story of Rasputin is actually pretty awesome, and much better than the animated movie made it out to be. I mean, dude, that guy was sick. It was awesome, like cool sick, not like evil sick. I mean, like, just so Rasputin was like, because of course, you know, it's the point of the story is don't capitalize on people's pain while they're capitalizing on real people's pain. Completely seeming to miss the irony of the situation. But you know, these were real people, and Rasputin himself was he was a peasant from Siberia. And it's been a little bit since I did my history dig on this one. But he somehow got word of the secret illness of the Romanovs' youngest, I guess, son, maybe only son. I'm not as up on this as I should be. If I'm going to be discussing it on the internet, even on on the fly live stream. Gasp! He's not read up on it on his Romanov history, like immediately. Bastard. So the Romanovs had a kid who was a hemophiliac, which of course was a very not an uncommon royal disease. It was something that came to them from, I believe, the Queen Elizabeth's line. So it was something that, you know, was passed through the bloodlines to the blood, and he had it and was in threat of dying pretty good, which of course was a super duper secret, because when you are when you're noble and on the throne, and the status quo and stability of your regime, of your nation, rests on everybody, you know, everybody not being dead, and if somebody does die, having an heir, and you know, there's the old thing of an heir and a spare, which Frozen was. There was a draft of Frozen apparently that was going to utilize that idea between Anna and Elsa, and there was even a song about it, which you can listen to on the Frozen soundtrack. Fun fact. But yeah, I know the Romanovs had more than one kid, of course. Of course. I think they only had the one boy, so the one legit heir. No spares here. So having this kid, the sickly kid, the sickly kid would have been major trouble for the realm's stability, if it was known that the only heir was ill. So it was very hush hush. I don't know how Rasputin found out about the kid, but he did, and he came to the Romanovs to pledge his service and to help the kid thrive. And the funny thing is, whatever he did, and it was all very secret, and you know, it's all shrouded in mystery now, especially, whatever he did, it worked. Like, the kid didn't have as many episodes of being ill, but but yeah, so it seemed to work. Things were going pretty well. And Rasputin was kind of a larger than life figure, and kind of probably, if you knew him, an asshole from what I've heard and watched and read and everything. And he kind of got a bit of an inflated head about his importance. And one account I ran across said that he was alleged to periodically whip his dick out and just like wave it around at a pub or whatever, and say that he could do such things in front of the Tsar because he just had that much influence. Which I fucking love the imagery of, just, you know, especially when you look at the photos of Rasputin, that guy with that big old beard and, you know, whatever, and just whipping his dick out. I show my dick to the Tsar, and he loves it. And of course, there were also rumors that he was betting the Empress and all that, and you know, nobody really knows, but there's a really cool Boney M song about it. It's yeah, Rasputin by Boney M. Who was it that did a cover? I was on my Rasputin kick a few months ago, and I was like, yeah, Rasputin. I was blabbering on about it, and I'm like, yeah, and there's a cool song by and it's like, yeah, and my friend's like, yeah, I know that song. And he knew the cover. He didn't know the actual like disco version, because the Boney M version, of course, is disco. It's awesome. You need to check it out. Yeah. So yeah, and the song by Boney M has a pretty decent version of the history, you know, succinctly in there. Or, you know, the chorus, they call him lover of the Russian queen. Ra ra Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat that really was gone. I'm not in the right fucking whatever scale, not scale, can't remember, not chords, words are hard anyway. So of course there was also speculation that he was diddling the Tsar's wife, which, who knows. There's really no evidence either way, that whether they were or weren't. There's, hi Z, what's up? You want to diddle the Russian queen? You know the secrets. You know Rasputin's secrets. She's gonna heal the hemophiliacs and whip her dick out. But you know, some of the evidence that is presented as to whether they were diddling or not is some flowery letters that Tsarina, I don't know the term. I'm sorry, Russia, I don't know. But letters that she wrote to him, but she kind of had a habit of writing very flowery, poetically worded letters to everybody. So not exactly perfect evidence for a tryst, but still whatever. But eventually Rasputin fell out of favor because, you know, you can only whip your dick out so many times in public and say that the Tsar's totes cool with it, yo, without the Tsar being not totes cool with it, yo. So, people were, you know, highborn people were pretty upset with him, and the the Tsar they eventually distanced themselves from Rasputin, basically, and dismissed him. And Rasputin famously said or wrote a letter, I forget which, whatever, words from Rasputin to them were that if they ever were to remove him from their household, they would then soon fall. That their house would then soon fall, which is of course looked at as a curse or a threat, but could also be looked at, and often is also looked at, as simply a prediction, because this guy could totes help a hemophiliac boy, which is pretty damn cool. So of course, Tsar Nicholas did cast out Rasputin anyway, and that was very, very sad for them. But the story didn't quite end there, because there were still highborn people who wanted to, who were still quite frustrated by Mr. Rasputin, and decided that he needed a good murdering. So they this is the part where the son comes back in, and they brought him, they invited him over for drinks and cakes, and he was among other things, getting his dick out in front of the Tsar, purportedly, by him. He was also, he was a bit of a glutton, a bit of a lech. He liked the ladies and the food and the wine. He had a big sweet tooth, and he drank a lot. Which you wouldn't be surprised that he drank a lot, what with this being Russia and all, but he's a holy man that can't be improper. Also, how can you be so skinny with all those cakes? Yeah. Z knows. My cat Z. Z is my cat. She needs pets. So these highborn political figures, whatever, I don't know their names, status, whatever. I'm not a historian. I'm an animator. I work in insurance. They wanted to off Rasputin, and they invited him over for booze and food, and he came, and he really came. So Rasputin shows up, and they give him their poisoned wine and the sugary cakes, and all of this was poisoned, of course. I said it was poisoned. Duh. Which he drank his wine, he ate his sugary cakes, but the poison didn't affect him. Which pathology reports of now say, well, yeah, of course not. The kind of poison that they used was easily negated by sugar, so they kind of just botched the poisoning. But it went down as part of Rasputin's whole mystique, because not only is he this mystery man out of nowhere, healing a sick kid that people didn't realize was sick at the time, and being outrageous and maybe having illicit affairs with the Tsarina, but also he survived a poisoning, and that's just a colossal thing. But so they had this man who they'd locked in their basement or whatever with a bunch of poisoned food and booze, and he's just happily gorging himself, and they're like, oh shit, what do we do now? Well, okay, the poison didn't work, we'll shoot him full of holes. So they grab some guns and they go and shoot him, and that doesn't kill him either. So now they've got this poisoned, bloody, bullet hole filled, pissed off holy man, and they're like, well, shit. Now what do we do? He's still not dead. How we need to get this guy super fucking dead. I know. Well, wrap him in a rug and throw him in the river. And so that was what they did, and to this day they're still, or well, whatever. It just became a legend that even that didn't kill him, and he clawed his way through the ice, and he probably didn't do that. But read up on Rasputin, because it's just fucking awesome. And really, it's a story that is not done justice by making him an evil guy voiced by Christopher Lloyd. Although I love Christopher Lloyd's work in Don Bluth's Anastasia. It was great. Rasputin is such a fascinating character that taking him and making him a mwahaha villain who's not very well written is kind of a letdown. Like, it's one of the few times where, or it's one of those times where history has just given such a cool fucking story that you don't need to spice it up or change it or anything. Like, I know in an Anastasia story you're like, well, we want a happy ending and amnesia because it kind of sounds like Anastasia, and and we have to make it look like coming back and being Russian royalty would have been a good thing, and nobody would have been murdered horribly. Every story ends in murder. But I don't know. I just wanted a Rasputin animation. What, Rasputin the movie? Let's get on that. I guess write it. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle of this. That's my life. Oh, I could do this project, but I've got this one I'm working on instead. Well then, I probably would not be the one to conquer a Rasputin the animated film, but I would watch the shit out of that, dude. Like, just come on. Rasputin is awesome. But clearly, I guess maybe I should attempt Rasputin the biography. I'm Rasputin. I'm whipping my dick out. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just do live action. And if you're gonna do that, you might as well go X-rated. Really whip the dick out. But who will be the Rasputin? Rasputin porno. That would be cool. Please let me know if there is a Rasputin porno, as I do not care, or I won't probably do the research myself to figure out if Rasputin the porno exists. But if it is presented to me, I will totally watch it, and it will be glorious. Because come on, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat that really was gone. Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine. It was a shame how he carried on. Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine. They put some poison into his wine. Rasputin, Russia's great lover of the Russian queen. He drank it all and said, I feel fine. Eyeballs. her save, because quite frankly, not saving would suck. I don't care how much you think your computer will never crash. Fucking save, because it will always crash. 1,000 times the crashing. I was so mad last week. We were recording a session of This Game Needs Played, which is the Let's Play channel I am a part of. I can put a link in the description, I suppose. And yeah, so we were doing a recording for that, and I had when we do that, we use the a capture card to get the game footage, and then we use my my computer to get the audio. We hook up my nice microphone, and everything is good. It's a cool setup. It all works most of the time. This was one of those times where shit done got hecked up. I'm gonna do... Okay. Well then. No, I know what I'm doing. So, we're going along, enjoying our day, recording, and we've had some issues in the past with Windows 10 deciding to spontaneously update and shut down my computer in the middle of a recording session, which is, as you can imagine, fucking obnoxious. Now, most of the times when this has happened, it has saved our progress up to that point, so we've only had to post commentate up to a certain point. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it was just annoying. So we did everything we could think of to make sure that this wouldn't happen. We set the in-use hours on the computer so that they would never coincide with a recording session. We yeah, we played with settings till our ears bleed. And the night before our last recording session, I had made sure to do a manual update, just to make sure, because the computer hadn't been on as much lately, and it's okay. Well, it probably needs an update. It did need an update, so I did it, and it was fine. I restarted and checked if there was more, and there wasn't. So I'm like, okay, well, we're prepared as we're gonna get. So the next day, the computer fucking restarts in the middle of a fucking recording session. And we lose everything. Like, there was not a bit left of the sound. I kind of threw a fit about it. So I was not happy. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what to do. I think one of the other things that we had done previously that I forgot to do last week was turn off the internet connection of the computer, so it can't get beamed stupid thoughts into its head about what it should be doing with updating or not. So I'll have to do that. Actually, I have kind of a little bit of, now that I'm thinking about it, I have kind of a bit of prep work I have to do for tomorrow. So I should probably knock this off soon. But this is so much more fun. I like animating. What? I have done nothing I'm supposed to do. That's a lie. I've done some of the things, but I haven't done all of them. I made soup, or well, broth. That was cool. I periodically just decide to start cooking shit, and this was. I had been collecting things in my chicken bits and and some leek parts in my freezer for a while, and I finally got to critical mass where it's like, okay, we have enough to make a broth. Cool. So I started that today. I also did a bit of gardening in the form of making fire of old weeds, implying that there are new weeds to not be made fire of. I don't know. Yard waste, I guess you could also say. So I spent a few hours actually trying to burn shit, fairly unsuccessfully. Imagine that. Fresh picked green weeds don't burn very well. Who knew? So that was a little bit frustrating in that it was a completely wasted endeavor. Whatever. We'll get rid of that yard waste eventually. It'll happen. I swear it. I swear it. I swear it upon things and stuff. The blood of my ancestors. I don't know any of them. I'm free to swear on their blood all I damn well please. Because as far as I'm concerned, they pretty much don't fucking exist. How can I say this, you ask? I'm adopted. I don't know anything about my ancestry, whatever. You were probably assholes anyway. It is kind of something it's something that you always wonder about as somebody who is adopted. Like, oh, I wonder what my family history is. Well, guess that's the end of that thought. There's no real way for me to find out. Okay. We've got another friend who is also adopted, who got the 23andMe kit, and it told him nothing that wasn't pretty much readily apparent from looking at him. So I don't know. I'm not really impressed with those kits. I think there's definitely an idea there for discovering your ancestry and that sort of thing, but I'm not convinced that those mail order kits are as useful as they want you to think they are. But I could be wrong. And I'm sure if they've worked for you, let me know. Theoretical person who might be watching at some point. As there's no one on the chat. None. Zero. I haven't seen zero on there in like a while. I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at the other computer with the chat displayed for the possibility of discussing things with theoretical people who might or might not be watching and are currently not watching. That's okay. We got this for history. I have activity on my channel now after 6 months of not having that. Woo. But yeah, I do have things I want to make, so that's good. But back to the whole being adopted thing. Yeah, you're kind of always aware that you just don't have a family history, and it's not a tragic thing. It's just slightly annoying. It's mildly inconvenient. Like, it's something that you don't want to complain about, because when you bring it up, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it doesn't warrant an, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, it's fine. There was no personal tragedy here. I don't know any of these people who were involved in the story of how I came to be a gamete. How two gametes collided. There we go. I don't know these people, and you know, they wanted their gametes to not be dead. That's neato. And now I am here, and that is a thing. So, and presumably they were fairly Christian, given the fact, given who they, who the agency that they gave me up to. So I can ascertain a few things based on that alone. ECFA is the agency, Evangelical Free Christian Family Association, or Evangelical Christian Family Association. There we go. I had an extra F somewhere. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you're always thinking about, like, oh, well, I don't, you know, you read about, oh, ancestors, and kids are always talking about, oh yeah, I'm 1/8 Chinese and 1/4 Dutch and 1/16 Cherokee, and my dad is 100% Mexican, and my mom is 100% Jamaican, and then you say, well, this math doesn't seem to do right, but you know, whatever, I can't join this conversation, and if I bring up the math thing, they'll get mad at me, so whatever. I don't know, as somebody who can't engage in these conversations, it does always seem to end up into improper fractions to me. Or at least it did in elementary school. I'm sure now it would be much less improper fractions, and it appears to have come more to, I don't pay attention. Imagine that. Yeah. So it's something that very rarely comes up anymore, but when it does, it's something that you get curious about, but not necessarily curious enough to act on. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I think I had a point, like, somewhere in the beginning before I talked about my friend who did 23andMe, but I've lost it. It's gone now. It'll never come back. And that's just fine. Holy shit. Is that really that delayed? I'm sorry, I've got the stream going in the other thing. I'm gonna unmute it for a second. It doesn't in how it's showing an emotion. My God, that stream is so delayed. It's strange. Anyway, I'm not sure why I'm seeing the stream so delayed in my other computer, but whatever. Okay. That's interesting. Oh, I bet it's because I bumped up the the size of the file. That might be it. Or, well, the size of the Dealy Bob, what you see here on screen. That's much better. That's a much better structured sentence. Good for me. Okay. Trying to figure out how to best with the wrist movement here, because I don't really want to redraw everything, and obviously I haven't given myself very much ground very much to work with in the sketch layer. So, and that's very strange how far behind that stream is. Sorry to be so distracted by that. You theoretically in the future watching this, where it no longer matters because we are at one, we are at unity because you are hearing my words. Okay. What was I doing? Yeah, okay. So let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? You're the saddest bunch I ever met, but you can bet before we're through, somehow I'll make a man out of you. Yeah, there are many songs in that film that are very appropriate for trans guys. And probably Reflections would be appropriate for trans girls too. Well, probably more trans guys. What with the whole "Who is that girl I see staring back at me?" right back at me line. It's a little specific. Yeah. It is interesting how, or to me anyway, how trans, or how much the songs from Mulan kind of reflect the trans experience, at least with like Reflections and Make a Man Out of You. I mean, I guess you do have the same experience as the oogling lady songs. I mean that's not really oogling, but the song about the woman at home, and I guess kind of the matchmaker song too. You can definitely identify that, where identify with that sort of sentiments. But yeah, it's always been interesting to me, or well, it's been interesting to me as long as I've been aware of trans people in general, not even necessarily knowing that I was trans myself. How much with if you just listen to the songs, Mulan can quickly become a narrative about a trans individual. In the film, you know, you take the songs in the context of the film, and that's not there at all. But if you just like watch the music sequences, and you know, you watch Mulan being a soldier and that sort of thing, you could easily misconstrue that as a trans narrative, which is kind of interesting. I mean, that's obviously not what they're doing with the gender exploration of that film, but it's interesting. It's always, I don't know that it says anything specific, but it's something that I've always kind of had in my head. I guess I kind of have a few of those floating thoughts in my head where it's just like, that's interesting. I have no specific thoughts that result from that. But whatever. No conclusions. That's the word I was thinking of. No specific conclusions for that whatsoever, but it sure is interesting. always that's another thing that's interesting. Some days I never, or I like to avoid drawing specific conclusions about, wow, this is a vague ass sentence. Let me see if I can refine it. Like, I don't like to theorize, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. Like, I like to gather information, but I don't necessarily like to put theories to that information. I just kind of like to have it, catalog it, and use it to deal with whatever comes next. And I've found that that's a really useful way to deal with people. But and which is one of the reasons I do it. You don't want to make assumptions about where somebody's coming from or why they're acting the way they are. Just knowing that they're acting the way they are, and that and what their emotional state is, and that sort of thing, and just piecing all of that together, it ends up, and being able to flow with that as you get new information, rather than saying, oh, they are in this particular place or situation, emotionally or mentally, and then making assumptions based on that. I don't like to be in that place. I don't like to say, I don't like to tell anybody where they are, even if it's just within my own head. And this is probably an extension of I hate it when people tell me how I'm feeling, because 90% of the time they're wrong. And I mean, sometimes out of that 90% of the time, they're partially right, where they know some things, but there's almost always something else going on, or you're feeling simultaneous emotions, or blah blah blah. It's always more complicated and more intricate than somebody else will try and make your emotions feel, or emotions sound or feel, or whatever. So I definitely, I actively try and not make assumptions about what anyone else is feeling or thinking. I just try and roll with what they're doing in any situation, and I try to empathize as much as I can, and that works pretty well. It's something that, it served me well. A lot of my approaches with people comes from my background in horse training and stuff, so there's a lot of that too, where you don't just assume that the horse knows what you're thinking about, or what you're doing, or what you're saying. You just work with what's going on right then. And I've run into too many situations where there's just too many complex systems happening within a person, and that you're just not privy to, and cultural expectations interacting with personal emotions, and their relation to different cultural experiences, and just in any given situation, there are so many fucking variables to why somebody is acting the way they are, that rather than try and codify any of these ideas, I just don't, that's not for me to look at, is sort of my thought. I keep an idea of things that I've experienced and things that I'm familiar with, and then am open to whatever actions somebody is going to throw out, and try and just analyze them from an emotional perspective of what's what's true to them at the moment. And definitely it is at the moment, because, you know, how you react to a stubbed toe when you've had a really shit day, and how you react to a stubbed toe when you when you just had a date or something like that and it went really well, are totally different things. And saying and trying to estimate how somebody's going to react to any given thing when you don't have all the variables is kind of silly to me a lot of the time. So I take that kind of outlook on people, and it kind of translates to everything, because if that's how you're dealing with people, people are particularly complex. And most things are not going to be quite as complex. Or you might see more of the complexities because that's how you're thinking about things. So I tend not to I like theory. I mean, I tend not to like theory videos a ton, because I tend to not like how they pull things from boring conjecture and don't have good evidence to support it, or all this evidence is extraordinarily circumstantial, or you run into just shit theories like it's all a dream. It's all Ash's psychological profile. Da 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 da. Pokemon is just a dream. Everything is just a dream. I get bored of that really quick. Where am I going with this? So I have a bad habit then, because that's where I'm coming from on interacting with people and objects and what have you. Because I don't want to make assumptions about that. I have a bad habit of coming forward with all this, having all this data, having all this information, and then just it goes nowhere. So my stories just tend to have no conclusion as a result. It's like, here's this thing that happened. Yep, sure did. which is that's a viable way to have a story, but usually when somebody tells a story, they have a reason. Not just like, I found this, or even, obviously I found this interesting today is totally a reason to tell a story, but I have a bad habit of just relaying information because it's in my head at the moment, rather than it's pertinent to anything. And I mean, yeah, anybody's gonna have a measure of that, I suppose, now that I think about it. But yeah, historically, and I've gotten better over the years, but I'm kind of trying to steer away from it now here. Historically, my storytelling has been a whole hell of a lot of get to the damn point. Well, no, there isn't any. I guess that was the point of that whole thing. Aren't you glad you got to hear it? Get to the point. The point I'm trying to make is get to the point. Man, if only that whole thing were as entertaining as Albuquerque, right? Right. Then we'd have something. The playback interrupted. That's not good. Okay, well, it looks live here, so we're gonna pretend everything's okay. Ugh. No, stop it. Yeah. It's very, very disconcerting to have that it's static to my left on the other screen. Ugh. Whatever. It's fine. I don't care anymore. I'm lying. I do care. I care a lot. Oh well. I don't care enough to try and fix it, and I don't care enough to stop at the moment. Which is kind of, again, I do have other things I actually probably ought to do tonight. And it's 11. Shit. Well, no, the timer says it's been doing this for an hour 20, so we'll just go to an hour and a half, so just 10 more minutes. That's fine, right? Right. Hell, I might even get to finish this inking bit tonight if I'm quick. I don't know if I will be. I don't know. Oh god, pressure's on. Don't fuck up. Don't hack it up, Sonic. Can't fuck it up. Ah. Okay. Well, we talked about Rasputin tonight. Talked about not making assumptions about what any individual is feeling or thinking at any given moment. Fuck. Talked about surgery. I guess I could keep talking about surgery. Surgery forever. Yeah. That's kind of, again, that has been, it's just been ruling my entire year. Just, and it's such a passive thing, a passive way to of being, right, that's been going on, because it's been on my mind since before November, but I finally acted on it in November. I had my consultation in March. It's just been an incredibly a hell of a lot of hurry up and wait. I had the whole thing of gathering my letters from psychologists so that I could get it covered by insurance, and that ended up just being, I mean, that was a little bit of an event because I procrastinated on it and then ran it down to the wire, and it was one of those things where I should have done it by May, and I ended up doing it, I didn't get a hold of everything until July, but it all worked out and it's going to be covered, and that's good. But it was just a whole, it was a month of, I'm losing my mind. And it's just been that. And yeah, like I said before, it's been a whole hell of a lot of hurry up and wait. And it's my entire year has just been, this is going to be so different next year. This entire summer has been, oh man, what's it going to be like next year when I can wear just swim trunks and not have my chest covered, or man, my chest hurts so bad right now. What's it going to be like when it's finally gone? It's been that. And I mean, it's good. It's good
anticipation.
Definitely good feelings more than bad. So that's nice. But it's just been a year of feeling like you're in limbo. So, and I am not the best limboer. So it's but I'm excited, and I I get to start testosterone or T after the surgery, so that's gonna be great. Because dysphoria is funny. It has people usually have things that they are more dysphoric about and less dysphoric about, and I think it's just a matter of your brain needs to prioritize what it's freaking out over. At least in my theory, my opinion. Because when you're trans or feeling any kind of dysphoria or dysmorphia, your brain is spending a lot. You're spending a lot of resources not feeling right, and just being aware of what's wrong. And it varies. Some days are better than others, and sometimes you're more distracted, or sometimes you've got more energy to work with and you're able to deal more. Things just don't bother you as much. Things might be going better in one way or worse in another, and you know, it's back to that whole thing with all the variables. You never necessarily know how you're going to feel any given day, but some days you got more to work with than others. Every trans person, as far as I know, have different levels of dysphoria, and some have none or practically none. Some are very severe, and everything in between, and there's different aspects that bug different people more. Like, some trans guys are super dysmorphic about their genitals, and they're just the dudes that cannot get over and just cannot deal with not having a dick. And like, I don't know that, and I mean, that's something that, like, seriously, just it runs them. I'm kind of that way about my chest, and it really wrecks me to just have that always being there, and you can't escape it, and it's it's something that you're always thinking about. You do the best defense is ignoring it, so you just do your best to ignore it, and it doesn't even have the decency to not, like, be not painful or something like that. It has to force you to pay attention to it when you just want it to not be there and go away, and yeah, and it's just not good. So my chest has been the thing that I just needed to deal with first. A lot of trans guys just transitioning is definitely a very individual thing, but a lot of sometimes when you read the blogs and whatever, patterns emerge, and a lot of trans guys start off with hormone replacement therapy. They go on T, they go on testosterone, which is fine. I didn't feel that was an option for me until after I had gotten some shit off my chest. I'm adorable. I was gonna feel super dysmorphic until I got that off, no matter what else was going on, and I wasn't going to feel like I would be able to, well, pass in any way, and just feel comfortable in myself. So for me, from from the beginning of figuring out, okay, I'm trans. I gotta actually deal with that. I gotta look at this, and I have to figure out what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna deal with that. And look at how and whether I was going to transition, and deciding what was going to work best for me. Which is just, something everybody has to do. So when I looked at that, and I decided that I needed to take care of my chest first. So that's where I'm at right now, in the process of taking care of the chest. Taking care of it like the fucking mafia, yo! Yeah, so I'm excited. Hilariously, the next thing that really, really bugs me, that's accessible to get repaired in the near future, is my voice. I'm actually pretty bad about my voice. I hate it. I mean, I don't dislike listening to it as a voice. It's well trained. I've done good. Yay me. But it's pretty damn girly, and it's just not right. I'm pretty dysphoric about it. On a good day, I can just, I can enjoy that I can do voice female characters with no trouble. On a bad day, I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it existing. The same thing with my chest. I just plug your ears and stop. And pretend it didn't happen. Pretend nothing happened. Nothing exists. All is calm. All is peace. All is calm. All is brick. Let's see this playthrough real quick. Looking at things. Alright. And this last bit will go a little bit quicker, just because the sketch layer that you can see here, I don't have as many twos on there. I have much more extended frames because it's very lazy. That's the answer. That's the reason. It's lazy. All right, but this was a good session. It's almost 11:30 here, so I'm gonna wrap it up. And it was great talking to you about random shit and Rasputin ripping his dick out. Yeah, that's an image you need. It's an image I need. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Here we go.